Well, hello everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. I am the Church Girl Writes, and I am coming to you today to talk to you a little bit about blogging. In the last year, I have had quite a few people come up to me and speak to me about what is it that you, how did you start your blogging, or how did you start writing, and why did you start writing, and actually how do you start a blog? And I thought that I would come to you today. My friend Danielle had seen me. Well, we'll talk with Danielle. I will try and see if I can bring her in. Danielle, I'm going to try and bring you in, darling. So, Danielle, I don't know if I can get you. But anyway, so what we're going to do is Danielle had actually originally asked me, Danielle, I don't know if I can bring you in on this. I love you guys too. Hello, happy faces. Darn it. Well, this is how we're going to do it. Based on Danielle's questions, I'm not sure, I'll move forward. Based on Danielle's questions, she had actually gotten a hold of me. She had seen our friend, Pastor Jamie Morgan, and she had, Jamie had an amazing book launch, and you should totally go check her out. But she had had a book launch a long time ago. It was about a month ago. Her book is about finding your ministry and discipleship. And she had, Danielle had seen me on there and talking about blogging, because I'm not a big enough girl to write a book. I can't even imagine writing books. But I started blogging as a way of maybe getting to that point eventually, or not. I'm a magazine author. I like doing magazine articles. That's my happy spot right now, because they're short, they're quick, and they pay fast. And so the way I started blogging was last year. I had been asked to write a magazine article for the Christian Standard magazine. And I thought, well, if I'm going to be a real author, I need to actually start putting together and grabbing my stuff together. And it needs to be on the web, so that if somebody's looking for my work, they could easily find me. And so good job, Paige. I'm proud of you, girl. And so what I did was I really felt, as a Christian blogger, I remember last year in June that it felt like God was going to squish me like a grape if I didn't just do it and dive in and just start writing. And so I started my blog, The Church Girl Writes, June in 2017. And one of the things I love about the blog world is that, especially when you get onto a blog site, it can help you start keeping track of your stats. And so I kind of looked up the stats for this blog that I do. And in the last year that I've been writing, I've had more than, let me see here, it says 19,000 all-time views, so 19,000 times my blog site's been hit. I've had more than 10,000 visitors. Yay! I know, get thumbs up too. I was really excited. I don't normally look at those so often. And one of the really cool things about blogging versus maybe writing books or magazines, blogging is worldwide, and that is what is super exciting to me. Last year I looked up, and I had hit in 57 different countries last year as a writer, as a Christian writer. And not only did I hit in a variety of different, every single continent and a variety of different countries, what's really incredible is that there were countries like Mongolia and Bangladesh and China. Hello, China. And I had Pakistan hit 7 times at least. So somebody kept hitting in and watching from Pakistan last year. Now, all time, actually that's just this year, all time I've done 69 different countries. And so my message is Jesus in everything. And so, yay, I know, thanks guys. That is one of those things that Jesus in everything went all around the world. It was in more than 7 different African countries. And so that's one of those things that I love about the internet in a sense, and in blogging, is that there aren't necessarily the boundaries, or the people can accidentally hit onto your site sometimes and accidentally get Jesus. So that's what makes me really excited about the blogging world. So that's why I founded it, number one, to give a place for people if they want to consider to hire me. And number two, just to really, I felt like I had a lot to say. I wanted to show people that you can find Jesus in everything, to give them hope and to spread the gospel. And then actually, number three, just so that I could start writing and have a reason to write every single week. So that is number one. That was one of the main things that Danielle had. That's one of the main reasons that I started the blog. And I'm looking at Jamie's post. Lee, are you in your phone because you can't do Facebook Live on your laptop? Yes, I'm on my laptop. That might be part of the problem. Danielle, you and I are getting together next time. You and me are going to talk, and you and me need to talk about also your awesome graphics. But that will be another time. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that next week, right? All right. So, oh, I love you too. All right. So, one of the questions she had asked is what are the length of your blog posts and how often do you post? And I've been told by a variety of different people in the blogging world, agents, and etc. I was writing twice a week, all the way through until March when I went to the Mount Hermon Christian Writers Conference. And I had agency Steve Laub. He said to me, he looked me in the eye and said, "You are blogging twice a week? That's ridiculous. Once a week max, and once a month probably, because you've got to be able to have time to do other projects, because at this point I'm doing other projects as well. I work for a church, a multi-site mega church in the Midwest. I do research, I help with sermon series and all this other stuff. I'm doing magazine articles. There were other things I wanted to do. So he said probably about once a week is enough. So I actually stepped back to once a week. And hi, Carol. So that's kind of where I am as far as how often I'm posting. I was an overachiever. It's okay. But it also got me in to writing a lot every single week, which I loved. Now, my blog posts tend to be between, they say you should be anywhere from 500 to 700 words, 500 to 1,000 words. When I have guest authors come in and they post on my blog, I usually tell them anywhere from 600 to like 900 words. But I kind of fudge on that. Sometimes they're smaller, sometimes they're longer. Sometimes I write poetry or prose, which is not very often because I'm not good at it. But so that's kind of like what we talk about as far as length for a blog post. People have very short attention spans. The subscribers and the mailing list. Okay, actually, I'm going to step backwards. Another thing that Danielle had asked about was just how do you start a blog post? I mean, she's already started hers. And if you will comment, Danielle, what's the name of your website? If you'll comment down there, wherever it is. If you'll comment, we can, so you guys can maybe start thinking and listening to hers. Mine is actually called jesusineverything.com, but you can get to me at thechurchgirlwrites.com. If you guys want to go look at my website later on, please feel free to subscribe, which we'll talk about in a bit. But there, I use, what do I use? I use WordPress because there's tons and tons of different plugins, and it just is all made to mesh together, including your subscribers and mailing lists. I happen to use something, it's called MailChimp, and I'm gonna, let me see if I can get to it. That's MailChimp. I don't know if you can see. MailChimp is one of the ones that I use just because it's super easy. It's the one with a monkey on it. So, but anyway, that's my subscriber and mailing list that that I use for it. Hi, John Moberly. But there, you can get WordPress, you can use Weebly and Wix and Squarespace. There's Blogger, and I asked about Tumblr, and my 16-year-old son said, no, don't go on there. But I don't know why, something about memes, but he said, I'm not allowed to be on, so I have to stay off of Tumblr, I guess. I don't know. But those are the different ones that people use. Now, if we have any bloggers that are following here, like Paige, Danielle, some of the rest of it, maybe Megan, if you guys have, hi Megan, if you guys have ideas of what you use, I'm not sure what you use right now. Danielle's using hers is called It Is Deeply Rooted in Christ. She's working on WordPress. Paige, you use MailChimp for your emails and mailing lists. What do you use? Do you use that also to blog? I'll see what she says here. So if you let me know what you use there. So there's a variety of different things out there. I don't know what's the best. I think my daughter, Bella, has her, hers is on, whoopsie, hello, what is her? Hers is on Wix. I think Bella has a website on Wix. Her baking, it's a baking blog that she does at 11. So that's kind of that. I don't know, some things to think about if you're actually wanting to start a blog. WordPress has been around for like forever. Let me think here. There was another blogger's been around forever. I just went with the one that I had seen the most of. Mailing lists and MailChimp. And again, the mailing list, it's an interesting dynamic. As a blogger, you have to be really good at writing, marketing yourself. You have to be good. Hello, Kathleen. You have to be good at communications. You have to be good at visuals. It's like you have to be good at everything. And so anytime that you can use other people or other already preloaded companies like the MailChimp, for example. All right, and then Megan said that she's getting started too. First blog option, Wix, and posted your first one at restoredwoman.com. Way to go. Way to go. Well done, ladies. Well done. So those are just, I just try and use anything that actually can help me take the load off of me, because really all I want to do is write, and all I want to do is proclaim Christ. That's it. I've actually used teenagers to source some of my visuals, which is actually kind of funny. Actually, I've used quite a few teenagers to source my visuals for my pictures and my blog. And I think that that's, you know, if that's not your golden sweet spot, or if it's just hard for you, that use other people that can help you right along with it. I have a photographer that I use up in Chicago. His name's Orphan Runner Brian. He's awesome. I saw him on Instagram, and I loved all of his pictures. And I kind of thought, you know, I think he's a Christian, and found out he's like an underground pastor, and he loves doing pictures. And so I kind of like hooked up and said, hey, would you want to take some pictures of me in Chicago? Because that's one of my favorite cities in the world. And he said, absolutely. So we met him, my husband and I met him, and we went and did it. And he's given me some amazing photographs. So look around and see who wants to do all that visual, the editing, the photoshopping and stuff. If that's not your gig, ask for help. I think that's one of the best things that we can do as the community, as the believers, as a body of Christ. Use what other people have and that they love to do, because when you start doing what you have been called to do, that gives permission sometimes for other people to do the exact same thing. So I just get excited when I see the body of believers all coming together and putting their gifts together to proclaim Christ. All right, so let me see here. There's a couple people that I really appreciated in this last year that I read about, or that I read some of their stuff. And Jeff Goins was one of them. He is a 36-year-old author, blogger, and speaker. And I'll be putting this in on my blog. I'm going to do a blog post this weekend on Friday. I'm going to go through everything I'm talking about here, so that we can, if anyone had any questions, or they're like, what did she say? She talks too fast. She's a spaz. People can get that done. And you guys can go and see everything we went through. So if you're writing notes and you're scribbling really fast and I'm going everywhere, I promise I'll put it together. It'll be better when you see it and I'll give you links and everything else. All right? Is that cool? All right. Thumbs up, right? Okay, so Jeff Goins is one of the guys that I learned a ton about, different things, these lessons in this last year that of blogging, because boy, you learn a lot by trial and error, and man, you mess it up, and then you go, oh, well, that was so stupid. And one of the ladies that I know here in town, her name's Wendy. She's a published book author and everything, and I was getting so frustrated about like the numbers and how many people saw it, and you know who's doing what, and how many people liked it. And my friend Wendy Miller said, you know what, you write what you write because that's what God has given you, and you don't worry about the rest. And so that was one of the best lessons I think I learned at the beginning of blogging, is that you write what the Lord puts on your heart, or you write what you're gifted to write, and you don't worry about the rest. And you know what? There's going to be people, and every week I have people that subscribe and unsubscribe from my mailing list. And I go, oh, that's like I mean, especially when it's someone you know. And it's like, did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? And then you start thinking about you. You know what? We got to put that aside. And we got to say, well, Lord, was the message that I feel like I got, or the message that I was writing on my little computer, was that what you had? And if it was, and if you feel like that's it, then we can't sit there and look to other people to get our commendations. And we can't look to other people to get a pat on the head. And we can't look at other people and say, do you like me? But don't you like me? They didn't like me. And you will wear yourself out, because that's exactly what I did. You can ask my family. So that's one thing I would say. My lesson learned in this last year was that was a sword in the heart when I was trying to look around and see if everyone liked me or if everyone read it. And really, I got to do whatever is best for the audience of one, and that is the Lord, at least as a Christian writer. So that being said, some other lessons learned was I'll get back to Jeff Goins in a bit, but when you first start writing, just write and write and write, and you just keep on writing. I think I've been writing for 10 years. I'm a science major. I'm a microbiology major. I'm a Howard Hughes Medical Institute scholar. I don't write, but God says I am a writer. So I have to just write and write and write and write, and I write some more and I write some more, and then I edit even more. And so sometimes you can grab stuff from one post and throw it in another post, and you can, like, sometimes when I'm writing and I'm creating, because I'm a creative type, I will just spray all sorts of things, and I will sometimes get like 5 different posts from it. So you write like crazy, but you edit even harder. Yeah, we just totally did. Yeah, Michelle and I were talking about this. We're going to go back a little bit. We just talked about this whole thing last night on the blog here. Who's going to read my post? Who's going to like it? You know what? If the Lord's pushing you to write, then you just need to listen and obey. Right on, sister. She can tell that she's the daughter of a pastor. Yes, absolutely. And we just have to follow what Christ asks us to do. Right on, Jamie. We are. Thank you. I love you, Jamie. You're a sweetheart. You're always my cheerleader, aren't you? All right. So all of that being said, you write and you edit massively. Another thing I would say about blogging that I read over and over again is that we have to be consistent. So you have to be consistent. You have to put out stuff. If you've decided you're going to do it once a month, then put it out once a month. If you're going to do it twice a month, put it out twice a month. People need to understand what they can expect from you, and then we have to deliver on that expectation, I feel. That's just, for me, customer service. But you have to be consistent, but you also have to consistently be there. And what I mean by that is consistently be there, like write consistently and everything, but you also have to be the same person that you are on your blog as you are everywhere else. There are certain aspects of that we'll talk about, but be who you are and be consistent no matter where you are. And again, I guess that goes back to the whole, whose are you? And we can't be one way on a blog and one way on Facebook and then be another way in our homes and another way at church and another way at work and another way at the grocery store. And so, I don't know, just being consistent is really important. My sister just joined. Hi, Ann Louise. I love you. All right, so start considering some things. If you're a writer, we've got to start considering a couple things. And that is, what is your platform? I hated this question. I really, really, really did. And right on, Jennifer, talk the talk and walk the walk. One of the things that they rammed at us at the Mount Hermon Writers Conference is platform. And in a sense, I totally get it. And when we talk about platform, I see that as 2 different things. Number one is that we have a clear, concise message. And usually, I guess for me, the way I saw that was my tagline originally when I started was I was the church girl writes, but my tagline was Jesus in everything. And I kind of stumbled on it as I was writing through, as I had started the blog. I just wanted to look at everything through the lens of Jesus in everything. And that became a really big deal to me. It's always been a big deal to me, but that became very obvious that that was my purpose. Now, there are a lot of you out there that will have 100 other purposes. Maybe you're going to be writing for, being a mom, or maybe you're going to write on technical specs for satellites, like my friend John Moberly did, or on communications, or on mentorship or disciples, or leadership, or parenting children as a single parent. You will have something a very clear. Hopefully you need to get down to a very clear leading of what it is you're to write about. That's also part of being consistent for your audience, so that they know, okay, this is what this is about. And so you need to have a clear, concise message. Mine was Jesus in everything. Maybe somebody else will have, no matter what, Christ redeems it. You guys can go through 1,000 different things, but what is it when you're talking with people that you always seem to kind of go back to? That is your thing that you want to tell people about, that you are passionate about, that you know in your heart of hearts that is like your inner gut, that fire inside of you. Whatever that is your clear, concise message. The next portion of platform, number 2, is what is your platform? In other words, what is your platform personality? Now, Jeff Goins talks about this a lot. He talks about as far as your platform personality. And again, I go back to always be who you are. Do not try to, you can fool people for a while, but you will eventually get found out. So don't ever try to be somebody you're not. But you can have different kinds of personalities on your as far as your platform is concerned. Jeff Goins talks about, and he is at www.creativelive.com. Jeff Goins talks about, are you a journalist? Will you write from a journalist perspective on your blog? Are you going to be asking lots of questions, maybe not even answering the questions, but asking lots of questions to see where it leads you or see where it leads other people as they're reading your blog? That's the first one. The next one is, are you the prophet? Are you looking around and seeing things are mighty, there's something wrong in Dodge, and maybe it's your business to call and point out that there is something wrong in Dodge. So that would be the prophet. And then maybe that as a prophet, you would be the person to say, hey, maybe this should be the answer. Does that make sense? Okay, hopefully you guys are thumbs upping and understanding what I'm talking about. The next personality platform would be the artist. So maybe you write prose, or maybe you have photographs, or you have paintings or things like that. You're the artist. Your job is to make the entire world a more beautiful place. The fourth one is the professor. And so we see the professor types, I just lost the guy's name, but he's like the consummate professor. He goes out and he's got a really famous name, I'll figure it out. I'll put it on the blog. He goes out and figures out all sorts of stuff about everything, and then he becomes the professor. And he knows everything about that, and he's not the expert, but he can teach you about it so that you can go off and become the expert. And then finally, there is the star. And the star basically says, if I can do it, you can do it. And so that's kind of that personality kind of thing of, I'm just an everyday girl. And I think I'm not a star in any, I don't like the word actually, but this is kind of my personality platform is, I'm just everybody like anybody else. I happen to love chickens and give them massages on Sunday after church. I like poodles and, I travel with my dog. I love my children. I love my church. I love my husband. I love Jesus. So that's kind of like, but I'm just an everyday girl like anybody else. And I just show people what life is like with me. And I try to give encouragement. And if I can do it, I was a disaster when I came to Jesus. And if I was more of a disaster than most y'all, if I can come, and be at least partly normal, or I don't know. You can too. You can find hope, and you got to find Jesus in everything. So that's kind of like, those are those little personality things. And again, if you go to Jeff Goins' website, he has all sorts of teaching on that and training on that as far as blogging is concerned, okay? So then let me see here. I would say one other thing as far as blogging is concerned, and I need a sip of coffee. Anyone get your coffee? I got my kids all settled. I got coffee. Hold on. Nothing like a good cup of coffee. All right, we're 30 minutes in. I'm going to be ending here probably in the next 10 minutes unless people have some questions. But the final part of this is, why are you starting a blog? What is your purpose? Because it's really important to begin with the end in mind. Jamie, you and me, girl, we're going to get together. What is your purpose for writing a blog? Sometimes it's just a creative outlet. And yeah, you got it, Danielle. Sometimes it's just a creative outlet. And originally, I think that's sort of where it started for me, was that I knew I was created to write. I really felt like the Lord a couple years ago had given me a very clear vision that I was to be doing this. Now, my fingers are on the keys. I was doing worship, and I was playing the keys for worship, and I had another part of the vision was I saw a microphone in front of my mouth. And so I was singing and playing for Celebrate Recovery at our church, as well as on stage at one of our locations. But I was always feeling like I needed to write. I felt like I was always making little pages, like I would be creating like stories. I've done speaking stuff. And so I knew that writing was something I had to do, but I never knew the purpose necessarily except to proclaim Christ. And so when I started the blog, really it was a creative outlet for me. I was doing, at that point anyway, I was writing for a magazine, writing posts for that. And then I was also doing like 8 to 16 hours of research every week for the sermons for our pastor. And when we were doing different sermon series, I was putting together sermon series. So I was writing like that, but I needed a creative, fun outlet. What I do is creative nonfiction. That's what I write about. And so I felt like I needed somewhere to go with it and to tell stories. And I realized that if I wanted to get any more work, I needed to actually put it online so that people could see what it was, how I write, whatever. Now, from that, I'm kind of excited that one of my editors from the Christian Standard, he asked me, his name is Mike Mack, he asked me back in March when I was coming back from Mount Hermon writing conference, he asked me if I would be interested in doing an article. It's a brand new column that they're doing, and would you be interested in being one of the first to do that column? And I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? You know, who else is doing it? Well, the first guy who did it was a senior pastor, and I was like freaked out. I'm like, but you're asking this idiot here to write the second one? I mean, you're crazy. And he's like, no, I looked at your blog. I like the way you write. You're funny and you're strange and you're very creative and expressive. And I'd like you to give it a shot, but I'm going to edit you heavily. And I said, okay, that's fine. You know, coach me as much as you can, right? And so he ended up, it just got published. It's published in this month for August for the Christian Standard, and it's in the Ministry Life column. And I'm really excited. It's called Whatever It Takes. And so, so that was a way that I actually got paid because someone saw the website, and that's really cool. Another thing that I'm finding is I was writing some things to, I did a couple of blog posts in the last couple of weeks, my month of fun, with the crazy stuff I've been doing, including like the Hanukkah. I don't know if any of you saw my Hanukkah post where I like totally distorted my face to just have some fun. or the floating or whatever, but with Still Waters post. But one of the posts, actually, the companies that I went in and I saw, and I said, oh my gosh, I love this. This is so wonderful. They said, hey, would you mind writing our website? Like, could you just do the copy for the website, for the About Me part of the website? And I thought, well, yeah, sure. I mean, absolutely. How much is your hourly rate? And I'm like, I'm paid by the project usually, but I was like, yes. So that is, that's another reason why I started writing, is just to start displaying my writing out there. So when you start your blog, just consider, what is it that you want to start doing and why are you doing it? And just start thinking about that. Maybe it's going to be that you'll find, that you're really good at a certain type of writing. I vary my blog posts sometimes in length. I vary them in the way I write it. Sometimes I do it reporter style just so I can try doing it reporting style. But, just start thinking about, what's your purpose? Why do you want to do this thing? And, you just keep praying, and you pray some more. And then you pray some more, and you drive your family crazy because you keep asking them, what do I do? And then you finally, hopefully, will eventually get it. So anyway, those are just some of the things that I had when I was going through and writing in my first year. Some of the things that, just one more tip, and one more maybe lesson that I learned, is if you're going to be writing, how do people look at you? And this is interesting, especially if you're in ministry, actually, or if you're in your job. Like when you're in a Fortune 500 company, you have a lot of opportunity for people to rank you and to give you feedback about who you are. And as a writer, you're kind of solo in that sometimes. And so something to think about is asking, like, your closest friends, all the people that are around you, what exactly, describe me in 3 words. And that can kind of help you see how others see you. I actually had 11 people do it, including my mommy and my sister. And, so you got to kind of discount what mom and sister say, because they're going to love you no matter what, and they'll always give you the best words. But it really helped me to solidify what my personality was and who I am and how people view me, especially when you start to talk about personality platform. Okay, so that was my last thing. I don't know if anybody out there has any comments. I've talked super fast. Your ears are probably bleeding at this point. But I'm kind of doing a song and dance while you're waiting. And if you guys have questions or anything, please feel free to inbox me on Facebook at Lee McKenzie. I'll be looking through those. And if you had any questions, Danielle, especially for you, my darling, if you had any questions that you needed answered, that I did not answer for you, you and I can maybe do this again. I'll remember to do it on my phone instead. But I felt like my arm would get really tired, and that's why I used the laptop. And I'm sorry, I didn't know that you couldn't do it with the laptop. But anyway, if you guys want any more from me, please let me know. If you found that this was helpful at all, let me know. Megan, is my absolute joy and pleasure to help you. Danielle, you as well. If you guys have anything else that you want to hear about, maybe what we can do, if we want to do this again, we can do it again. Please share this with people. If you have people, yes, message me, Danielle. I'm glad I hit most of your questions. If you have people that that are in your life, and sometimes you don't even know who's in your life that is the aspiring writer, or that is too embarrassed to tell anybody that they want to be a writer. I know that I pushed it off really, really hard for so long. And ultimately, I just had to start. And Michelle McQueen, you just start. You don't have to examine too much. Sometimes you just start, you set it up, and you go. And you don't really look back. You don't have to have everything figured out. Heaven knows nobody has it all figured out when they start. So I'm so glad. Thank you group that surrounds Danielle. Thank you for surrounding her and Pastor Jamie. You guys are such a help, a help, a help. It's so, so cool that you guys have that big, huge tribe out there. And then if you guys will, you can go on to Facebook, check out the Church Girl Rights. I think I need another sip of coffee. Hold on. Check out the Church Girl Rights. The posts will come through there on Fridays, and if you subscribe to the Church Girl Rights, they will come through on Saturday morning while you're sipping your coffee at home in your inbox. But I'll be definitely writing this all up for this weekend so that you guys can have it all right there. And this may be a slightly longer post than just 700 or 800 words. So, all right, you guys be blessed. I love you. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll do it with Danielle next time. Peace out, everybody. Love you. Mwah, 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 mwah. Chewbacca says goodbye. Mwah. He was my man crush when I was a kid. Chewbacca, Chewbacca, Chewbacca. Bye, everyone. Take care.